Hi, as you can see, my name's Vlad Dugandzic and I'm from the tax office. Yeah, like it's been said, and I think we get this every day, what do you think of the tax office? Not many people seem to like us, but I can honestly say that the job I've got is one that I do enjoy. We work in marketing communication within the tax office. So it's an area that we think we work pretty hard with all markets to actually change that perception and to try to help people. So, please don't tarnish me with a brush of coming after you with anything, because what we're out there essentially to do is actually help you guys. I was just going to start off with Anne and Daniel. You can see the challenges that we're actually faced with. And Daniel, you said, I didn't even know that I didn't even know. Nobody, I'd be interested just to see how many people here are actually aware of just how many products and services and online tools and things like that the tax office actually has to assist people like yourselves. And you were going on about all of the hurdles and the obstacles you face when you're actually starting a business and running a business. You mentioned June and July. Is that the first time you think about tax, for instance? Yeah, look at our challenge. Record keeping, things like that. It's inherently important for the health of your business to make sure that financially, where everything's at. As an organisation from the tax office, we need to make all of you guys aware of just how important it is to keep all of the relevant records. So as you can see, we've got a bunch of problems or obstacles that we have to deal with. So when we came probably 18 months ago, 2 years ago, we were tasked with developing a marketing communication strategy for the micro market. And we thought, how are we going to do this? Where are we going to start? So what we wanted to essentially do was try to segment this market, and we thought, what's the best way to run it? A quick profile that is published on our compliance program. Micro market, it includes businesses with an annual turnover up to $2 million. It differs a little bit to the ABS. They talk about up to 20 employees, but across the board we're pretty close to the same sort of mark. There's approximately 2.7 million micro businesses, almost 400,000 superannuation funds. So you look at that, it's a pretty big market that we're actually looking at. So how do you cater for one as large as this? Because let's face it, when you try to segment, there's not going to be one hat that fits all. So it's very difficult for us to do it. One of the things we did do, and this went into feeding into the compliance program, was that 60% of businesses are actually in the property, building, construction, finance, professional and technical, primary production, retail industries. So what we wanted to essentially do with that was, if over 60% of businesses are in these 6 industries, it allows us to do one cut, I guess. So when we wanted to do research, we thought if we focus on these 60%, these 6 industries, we can see what sort of results we're going to get when we start developing or finding insights into this. But then it's also enough of a sample size to be representative of the total micro market. So how are we going to run all of this? We had 3 steps essentially. The first one, because we kept getting told there's all this research within the tax office already on the micro market. Your job should be easy. So here we go. We start looking for information across the board. First thing we did, research analysis. What's available within the tax office? What have we found that ABS have provided us? It gave us a fairly decent start, but then after that we had to find out, how are we going to cut it? How are we going to segment it? What are we going to do that's different, that's not already out there, to target this market? Internally, the next step we did, and we've got a pretty healthy database, as you could all well imagine. It's not something that we can actually distribute to people, unfortunately, but we use a lot of that to actually focus our targeting. So we commission intelligence scans within our internal data sorters. So we focused on the top 6. We focused on the 4 pillars of tax compliance, which I'll talk about in just a moment. And we also focused on what was it that they were doing well at those 4 pillars, and which ones were struggling at that time. After that, we actually went out externally and we engaged GfK Blue Moon, and that's what I'm going to focus on predominantly for this discussion. And this has actually been published to our web, so we've got a link here, but I'll also make it available for Ken to actually put onto the web for you guys. And I would thoroughly recommend you read it, because it was written by an external, but it's a really easy, interesting read. So I think you'd actually enjoy reading it. I know I did. Okay, so with the internal stuff, we focused on 4 obligations of voluntary compliance. So this is tax talk, I guess, but we look at registration, lodgement, correct reporting and payment. So, you look at all of those different steps, and we were looking at, who registered on time, who lodged on time, who's reporting well, who's actually got debt, are they paying on time, how long have they had debt. All of this helped us to paint a picture of which industries we thought were struggling when it came to tax compliance. Now, it gave us the compliance perspective, but then the difference that we wanted to provide with our research was competency. So what we wanted to do, this is our picture of all of you guys and all micro businesses. This is what you guys show us, but it's not intuitive. It's not telling us why are you guys like this. What is it that you're struggling with? So what we wanted to do after that was actually focus on competency. This was probably the biggest distinction that we found at this stage for us. Clients don't make the distinction like we do. So, and if you ask yourselves the question, they basically see all of it as doing your tax. So they don't see anything as, at registration I have to do this, at lodgement I have to do this, reporting I have to do that. All of it is just doing their tax. Now, another thing that we wanted to focus on was a business life cycle. So this is another way that we've actually segmented the micro market. If you think yourselves personally, for those who actually own their own business, how much consideration did you give to tax when you were thinking about starting your own business? Let's face it, and like yourself, you new dogs, what has that got to do with tax? All you want to do is run your own business. So what we essentially wanted to do was actually get these people, you people, at the thinking stage. We wanted to get everybody to start thinking up front about what it is that they would need to consider when it comes to tax to help in the health of their business, in the running of their business. There's different obligations, there's different entitlements that you need. So starting, running, ceasing your business. All of this basically helped us to segment how we're going to progress with it all. Now, when we went to GfK Blue Moon, as I said, we focused on tax competency. So we actually researched with a lot of people, but we actually asked for the person that took care of the books. So, Joe the plumber didn't necessarily take care of the books. He was out there doing the plumbing stuff, the stuff that he knew most. He wasn't interested, so to speak, about tax. So his wife or somebody else would actually take care of that reporting and that obligation perspective of it. There were a lot of results that we got out of it. We wanted to baseline a whole heap of measures as well, and this was an important outcome that we needed for our own purposes. We established a whole heap of baseline measures so that for future reference, for future evaluation purposes, we're able to actually go to market in a couple of years' time and see what sort of a difference have we made. We asked the small business owners, what is it that you guys need from us? What do you want from us? We asked them, how should we get messages to you? Are you aware of what we actually do? Interestingly, I'll give you a few baseline measures, but 40% have ever downloaded or ordered a product or used the service. So if you think that's only one, we've got dozens and dozens of different publications, brochures, online tools, things like that available to the micro market. But these baseline measures, and this one was quite scary, only 40% had ever seen, used or even downloaded one of those products or services. Now that's pretty low really when you consider it's one of, whereas we've got multiple ones that actually help you to run many aspects of your business. We went further, a few other ones. 26% of businesses have never done a business plan. Now one of our ideas that we've actually got is, how are you going to run your business if you don't actually develop a business plan? There's no future strategy, there's no long-term objectives. You've got to develop a business plan. Out of that, 26% never have. Out of the remaining 74%, it was about 43% have only ever done one. People simply don't update what they're doing.